Welcome back, everyone. My name is, of course, DM Rhino, and welcome back to another how-to in how to make a character series. Remember, if you like this video, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, do all the wonderful things, of course. I'm just make these how-to series just to help new players when they get into D&D Beyond, maybe older players also, but yeah, let's get into how to make a legacy character, a legacy druid. Why do we pick Legacy? Because a lot of the older adventure books are still played in Legacy, and Legacy is 5e. So we want to just you might run a campaign and you might want to share this to players that don't know how to play 5e or want to play a druid class. Let's make a druid class. And if you have D&D Beyond, of course, it's easy to create a character. It's easy to. So, of course, we go to our create character down here. And we gotta load it. We gotta go to standard. We don't need anything there. We gotta call this guy leg druid. And we're gonna make him that dude over there. We don't want to pick any homebrew, core rules, expanded rules, basically just the 2014. These are good. You can pick legacy, of course, if your DM allows it, but basically these two are the ones we want to pick. No enabled partner content unless you've had a clearance from your DM, and no encumbrance. I don't use it. I'm gonna make this public. All right, so let's go to our class. Of course, we want a druid. Druids use wisdom and intelligence, but primarily wisdom, right? No, we don't want to remove the class. We want to add 3 there because most campaigns begin on a level 3. Okay, what skills do we want our druid to have? Well, first of all, of course, animal handling. He's a druid. Now, the second skill, you can actually, whichever one you want, basically would work for a druid. Arcana, insight, medicine, nature, perception, religion, all of these are good for a druid. Of course, I'm going to stick to my go-to, which is perception, or being a druid, I might go to survival. Now, there's a difference between nature and survival. Basically, survival means you can go out in the woods and survive things. You know how to hunt, gather berries, fish, whatever. Nature is just your understanding of the world. Why does this tree rot? Why is this river polluted? So again, druids are both would be good for druids. I actually might pick nature for that because keeping him very druidic, right? Then we go to, of course, he's druid. He's a spellcaster. He gets his wild shape, of course. Yeah, there we go. So it tells you the basics. At level 2, I can pick a max of 1/4 CR, but no flying or swimming, and they give you an example wolf. Different druidic subclasses give you different ones, but like, for example, the Circle of the Moon, you're able to pick your level rounded down, I think by divided by 3. So I would immediately pick a level 1. But for normal druids, it's always this kind of level. Yeah. And then we go down to our Druid Circle. This is our subclass. And there we can actually have a look at the different ones there, right? Land, you get a lot for the land there. These are all the core rules. The moon. Now, we picked the moon in my one video when we were doing the new druid class for the new 2014 book, so I'm not going to pick the moon. But if you did pick the moon, the same rules would apply. Basically, they tell you combat wild shape, circle forms. You can go as high as level 1 and ignore the max CR column in the beast shape. So yes, you have that ability to go forth and go as high. So you can pretty much at the 3rd level, level 3, you can go to level 1 beasts. And at 6th level, you can transform as high as your druid level divided by 3. So yeah, it gets high. That's why most people pick the Circle of the Moon, because it's a great druid class. But for this purpose, I won't pick the Circle of the Moon. I'll just pick the Circle of the Land. It's a pretty fun one also to pick, right? And I get a bonus cantrip. So I'm going to pick Guidance, because if I pick it here, I don't have to pick it later on. I get natural recovery, and I get circle spells. Very cool. And there we go. Different circle spells. They list them all down here for druids. There's a lot of them. So now we go for our background. Let's go background. Let's go over here. What kind of things are we going to do for our background for our druid? Well, he's going to be a hermit. Why not? Medicine and religion. Again, very good. And he's going to get alchemist supplies. And he's going to know... let's make him know... Orcish. Oh, no. Sylvain. Sylvain is either primordial or Sylvain, but Sylvain is like the languages of plants, which is really good. And that's really fun to have. So, yeah. And then we're going to go over here. We don't have to choose anything just yet, but we're going to roll for our personality, as we always do. So let's do 2d8 for our personality. It's a 2 and a 4. So let's add that. And let's add that. And then we're going to go down here for our ideals, bonds, and flaws. 1, 2, 3. A 1, a 2, a 3, and a 1. Okay, so a 2, a 3. There we go, and a 1. Perfect. All right. Then we got to go to our species. So we don't have to go down here. You can see the expanded rules, but what's a good thing for a druid, a good species? Well, we definitely want someone with wisdom, of course. So if we look at our halflings again, they get dexterity. Nah, we don't want dexterity. We want wisdom. Forest gnome, intelligence. Ah, we want wisdom. Where's our wisdom? Elf. A wood elf. Dexterity. Oh my goodness. Wood elves gets dexterity. Dark elves, dexterity. Elves get dexterity. Elandrian. Yeah. Oh, they all get dexterity. Does no race have wisdom? Let's have a look. Dark vision, constitution are dwarves. Dragonborn are strength and charisma. I know orcs won't have it because orcs, and I know tieflings. We might have to go for a good old human. Okay, so let's go for a human. Now, there are always two things we can pick with a human. There's the normal human or there's the variant human. Now, I pick the variant human because they get a free feat. So we're going to pick the variant human and get our free feat. So let's confirm that. All right, now we're going to pick our different language, and I will pick primordial, which is elemental language. All the elements kind of speak primordial. I'm going to choose my wisdom by 2. I'm going to increase my wisdom. Oh, I can increase my wisdom by 1 or 2. So let's have intelligence. I get a skill. So now we come to the skill sets. What skill do I want again? Because I'm a variant human, let's go with perception, because perception is my favorite skill. Then we go to a feat. Now, what kind of feat do we want? Well, I can only increase my wisdom by 1. So ideally, I want a feat that also increases my wisdom by another 1, which means when I get to put my abilities, that's already at a 2. So if we come down all the way here, which one would increase my wisdom by 1? Is it keen mind? No, that's intelligence. I can't remember. There's so many. Is it observant? Yes. Okay. Observant is also a really good feat to pick. Basically, I can see any language and I get a +5 on my passive perception, intelligence, and I want to increase my wisdom by 1. But my wisdom modifier, all my intelligence gets increased by 1. So this is a really good feat for druids. Observant. Good. Now we go to our ability score. Now, again, if we have a look down here, ability scores, got intelligence and wisdom, but already my wisdom is increased by 2 and my intelligence by 1. So there we can see where they've played that into our hand. So last time we did standard array, let's do points to buy, right? Okay, so let's make everyone 10 to start off. This gives us a good base to build onto. There we go. Okay, so my wisdom is 12. My intelligence is 11. Okay, so let's make my wisdom, if it's going to be increased by 2, I'm going to make it 14, so it's 16. My intelligence, let's make that 15. So those two are the highest already, 16 and 16, which is really good. Okay, now we get to play around with the other ones. For a druid, I would actually let's increase the constitution by 1, so I get that. And maybe, I know a druid doesn't really need a lot of charisma, so maybe I drop my charisma by 1 and I increase my dexterity by 2, which gives me a better AC. Okay. Yeah, charisma is not really a thing for druids, but intelligence, wisdom, very good. And then my dexterity is up by 1, and I've got a bit of strength there, which is fine for me. You could either swap the strength or the constitution. Druids don't really need these two, but I would say these primary ones are things that, especially wisdom, but these 3 is what a druid would need. Now let's go to equipment. Let's add my equipment, a wooden shield. Some DMs rule that you can't use metal. It depends on your DM. Some say they can, some say they can't. So it just depends on their DM, right? I'm going to give him a scimitar, and then I'm going to give him a druidic focus. So let's just give him a druidic focus, like simple things like that. I'm going to add that equipment. Okay, there we go. We've got all our things added. I'm going to wear the leather armor. I can wear light armor. I've got my wooden shield, so I'm perfectly fine. And I've got my little scimitar. Yeah, very cool. And then we go over here. We got to view our character sheet, right? Let's have a look. Bada bing, bada boom. It's out. Druid. Fantastic. Look at that. Wisdom 16, intelligence 16. Look at this. He's not very intimidating. That's okay. But his passive perception is 20. It's crazy for a level 3, right? That is bonkers. But that's really good because that's our observant, our variant human kind of passive perception there. So that's really good. And then we've got spells to pick as a druid. Of course, we got spells to pick. So we go to known spells. We get cantrips. Now, remember, we picked guidance because guidance is a good cantrip to pick in the beginning. If you can pick it right when you create your character class, because then you don't have to pick it as a cantrip here. So what can we pick here? Well, let's go with frostbite. Frostbite's a fun spell. It does cold damage. It makes a constitution saving throw, and they have disadvantage on their next weapon attack. It's very cool. Frostbite's a great spell. And maybe another legacy spell. Well, see, this isn't legacy, but if we can get frostbite, get it. Maybe a thunderclap. Always a good spell, always a good cantrip. Thunderclap, a burst of thunderous sound. Very cool. Within range. Very nice. Now, what kind of spells would we pick for our druid? Well, I always start off with the biggest spell first, so the second level. Second level, we have a lot of concentration-based spells. But if we go to our go-tos as any druid, we would pick Moonbeam. Every druid should know Moonbeam. It's just a great spell to have, and you can upcast it. Pass Without a Trace gives you that +10 on stealth. Right? You can see there, +10 on stealth. Very cool on dexterity stealth checks. And if you wanted to know what Moonbeam does radiant damage. And it's a really fun spell for every druid to have. You can move it around the battlefield. Okay, that was 2 of my spells. Let's have a look. Spike growth. Always, spike growth is actually a great area control spell. Especially at low levels. 20-foot radius centered on a point you can see. There are spikes, and they take a 2d4 piercing damage every 5 feet. And so it does do a lot of damage when we think about it. So good spike growth. Okay, so those were my level 2 spells. I'm going to pick level 1 spells now. Okay. Well, let's see. What could we pick here? I will make this guy... let's pick Ice Knife. Yeah, I think what could we pick? I'm going to pick Goodberry, because my frostbite does cold damage, so I don't want to pick Ice Knife. But Goodberry, it's always good to have someone that can provide you food and good berry. Rangers can use it too. But if you're in battle again and you see your party member go down, just give them a good berry. They're up by 1 HP, so it's really good. So we pick good berry. Let's pick healing word is always a good one. As a bonus action, you can heal. So I picked 2 healing spells there, really good. As healing word, 1d4 healing, and let's pick a damaging spell now because now we picked 2 passive ones and we don't need cure wounds. So what damaging spell could we pick? Maybe we have to. Oh, Thunderwave. Yeah, let's pick Thunderwave. One of my favorites, of course. No one's getting close to me because I've got Thunderwave and I can push them away in my Thunderous Cube. So Thunderwave. Go. And there we have it, right? We can see my healing spells, my first level spells, Thunderwave, and I've got Frost, Bite, and Thunderclap, of course, right? And then I've got my Wild Shape, I've got my bonus cantrip, I've got my Natural Recovery. These are all good spells, and I've got my Feat Observant. This is really fun. So there we have our Druid or the Legacy. It's really fun to play a Druid. Of course, I would recommend if you're playing a Druid, stick to things that you understand and that you know. Always look at the monster manual, or just you can Google search beasts CR level in D&D. Just get your DM to approve it, and then you can wild shape into them if you're at that right level. But yeah, that was the Druid. Remember to like and subscribe and hit the bell if you enjoyed this video. I will be back tomorrow with another video. Until then, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Cheers, everyone.